Hello crafty friends, it's Brenda from Stamping with the CopperCropper. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. I hope you enjoy watching today's quick tip video. Today I have 3 quick tips for you on heat embossing. There are 2 types of embossing. There's the dry embossing that's done with an emboss folder that you put your paper in and run through your Big Shot or other die cutting machine. It creates this nice raised surface on your card that gives it a little bit of texture and dimension. We'll talk about how to do this and some tips for that in a different video. Today we're going to focus on how to use heat embossing. The first thing I recommend when you heat emboss is to always have everything set up ahead of time so you don't fumble through the process. You want to make sure that you have a few things. I always use a coffee filter to control my emboss powder. And I always make sure I open my emboss powder and have it setting on my coffee filter. I always use my Emboss Buddy. The Emboss Buddy is an anti-static device. You wipe the paper that you're going to do your embossing on. It leaves a fine powder residue that helps to prevent static so that the emboss powder does not cling. This is the one that I did a few weeks ago during one of my videos. Forgot to use my Embossing Buddy, and you can see I've got all of this stray powder because I had static cling, and it pretty much ruins the look of your card. Now I could probably fussy cut this out and get around it, but that would create a lot of extra work. So use your Emboss Buddy. And the ink that you want to use when you do this is Versamark. You do not want to use your classic stamping ink. This is a water-based, dye-based ink, and it dries very quickly and causes you to do a lot of rushing. And I find that when I rush, I make mistakes. So I always use my Versamark ink, and this is how it's done. We're just going to stamp a nice coat. You will not be able to see this because this is clear, but it'll leave a nice sticky coat on. Then press firmly on your paper and lift it off. You'll be able to see a faint image. Then take the emboss powder, cover your ink pad up so you do not get emboss powder blown on it, and put a generous amount of your powder on the paper. Flick it with your fingers, and there's your image. Now let me move this out of the way so I don't blow powder all over the screen and the camera. This is going to be noisy, and this is what you do. I'm going to aim my heat tool at my image, and if we watch, you'll see if you look closely that this image is going to change and it's going to become shinier as I do this. Can you see it changing? It's getting darker and it's getting shinier. Okay. I think we've got it all. Now your image, if you run your finger over it when you do this, you'll feel a nice raised image. And I was not finished. The nice raised image makes it really easy to control where your color goes if you're coloring with an alcohol marker. The alcohol will resist sticking on the emboss. So you can see I'm going over this strawberry. When I'm done, I can take a tissue and I can actually run that over and nothing will stick to the embossed area. So you can use this for emboss resist techniques, which we'll do in another video. And that's how you heat emboss. My top 3 tips: set all your materials out ahead of time. Don't forget to use your Emboss Buddy so that you don't get stray powder clinging. And for easy cleanup, I really like the coffee filter. It contains the mess. You can pour it on. give it a couple little flicks, and then toss it in the trash. Emboss powder comes in a lot of colors, but if you do not have the color that you want, you can use a special stamp positioning tool, such as our new Stamparatus, so that you can stamp in the same exact place. Then you would use your dye-based ink, but first you would stamp with Versamark, then you would stamp the same exact image with your dye-based ink. Because you were using a stamp positioning tool, you would be stamping them exactly on top of each other. I only do that when I don't have the correct color of emboss powder. Once you've embossed, this makes a really nice surface for using your watercolors, your aqua painters, and your blending pens. And that's today's quick tip. Happy stamping, everyone.